Sunday night sound session with John Moore and DJ Hyphen on KUBE 93.
So I think that kind of ties into the title of the album, Not For Sale. Whenever I see the title, it reminds me of a song off the Jazzy Jeff album that we were just talking about that Raheem Devon did, a song called My Soul's Not For Sale, which I think that's kind of the idea behind the music, right? That we're going to put out good music that we will hope to break through and sell, obviously, commercially, hopefully as many people will buy it as possible. But at the same time, you're not going to compromise. You're not going to go out there and start talking about stuff you don't believe in.
Well, here's what it is. Just being in the music business is a compromise. No matter what anybody say. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's no artist out there that doesn't have to compromise at some point in time. It's just about how far you're gonna compromise, what you're willing to do. You understand? Like, I'll tell you honestly, like the whole Not For Sale title, it wasn't born out of that train of thought as far as music. Really and truly, it came from a T-shirt, and I went to this, you know, as I do sometimes, being a fashion aficionado. I went to a random T-shirt shop and I was like, yo, so you know, once in a while you just get tired of wearing other people's stuff. So I went and I wanted to make my own thing. So I'm going through all their catalogs and this, that, and the next thing, designs, fonts, whatever. And I saw one T-shirt that said Not For Sale, and then, pardon me, I saw a barcode on another one. So I said, yo, let me take the Not For Sale, put it on top, put the barcode underneath, bam. And they were like, you know, yo, that's dope. We never thought of combining the two. I was like, you know, it is what it is. So anyways, just traveling, you know what I mean, just traveling as much as I travel, different people related to it for different reasons. Like, literally, I remember the first time that anybody ever commented on it, I was flying to Atlanta, and I was on the the rental bus when you're going to the rental station or whatever. I was sitting there, and this old white woman was like, I really like that. Like, I really like that. Could I get that? Like, I'd like to wear that for my husband and let him know, like, no matter what you buy me, I am not for sale. You know what I mean? Like, you can buy me all the gifts you want, but I am not for sale. I was like, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Appropriation begins.
Blah, blah, blah. And then just I kept wearing it, you know what I'm saying, on different trips, and different people would have different comments. So everybody related to it, you know what I'm saying, for a different reason. Then just a light bulb went off. I was like, yo, this is really something ill, because the way that I look at my music, like, people look to Kardinal for different reasons, and especially now, there's gonna be those fans that are gonna be the fans that are like, oh man, I love when Kardi just get into the booth and just smashes it out lyrically, where he's just eating them. Then there's those people that don't really care for that. They're like, yo, I just need that energy, just that straight energy, fire, whatever. That's what I love Kardi for. And then there's the people that love Kardi for, you know what I'm saying, when I go in deep and start talking about things politically. You know what I'm saying? People flock to me for different reasons, and I think the same thing with the title. Like, everybody can identify with the title for a different reason. You know what I mean? So that's really where the whole Not For Sale thing came from, for the title for the album.
No doubt. So how'd you link up with Akon initially? Like, what were your first impressions? Tell us the first time you guys ever met.
Well, you have to understand that the way we met was through a friend, because it's like, I don't really, in all honesty, I don't form too many relationships in this music business.
In a circle.
Yeah, like, it's just easier that way. But Kirk Harding, who is head of international for Universal, years ago, he's like, yo, we got this artist. His name is Akon, and I want to send him up for Caravana, because I think that, you know what I'm saying, his whole vibe and his music would go over good, and, you know, I want you to take care of him for the weekend. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Wasn't allowed to cross the border that first year. I was like, all right, you know, didn't work out, blah, blah, blah. And the next year, he was like, yo, let's try again with, you know, bringing up Akon, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, let's do it. I'm here, you know what I'm saying? Didn't work out again. So it became a joke, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, let's link with Akon. And this is, like, literally back when I was like, whoever that is. Then he came out with Locked Up. And I was like, looking on the TV, I was like, who is this 6'4" African guy who just came out of jail? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had no idea of what he was about. Was he a rapper? Was he a singer? Or, you know, ringers, that's what we call them, or sappers.
I like sappers. I'm using that.
But in the early days, I really didn't know what his whole movement was about. But because Kirk, like, he's family to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he wasn't at the label or whatever, he'd still be my people's. He really vouched for him, and you know, we did a couple collaborations, in, you know what I'm saying, in them earlier times. And then you know, I used to go to this thing called the Mix Show Power Summit, where all the DJs and any artist with any intelligence went to, you know, go and network and, you know what I mean, keep their name out there and see what's what, and, you know, blah blah blah. And that's where I first actually physically met Akon. And it's funny because when I saw him, he came up to me and gave me this big bear hug like we were boys for 10 years. And he just has this personality that's really just magnetic. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is a true people person. I'm not really, I mean, people are like, oh, Kardi, you mad, cool, whatever. Trust me when I say I'm glad that you look at it that way, because I'm not one of those I'm not a people person. Like, half the time I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk to this person about. Like, I don't know these people from Jack. Like, you know what I mean? What are we going to talk about? Akon, he'll come sit down with you. How you doing? Oh, blah, blah. 5 minutes later, and your grandmother and favorite recipe. Like, he's just one of those guys. So I was like, yo, he's a real cool dude. And then I think just after we started doing music together, and the one joint that we had done called Kill the Dance that was on the re-release of his first album in Europe, that did some stupid numbers, like sold almost 1 million copies or something like that. And I think for him, that's when the light bulb went off. Like, because in the early days, he approached me and he was like, yo, I know there's, you know, a couple labels that's trying to, you know what I mean, re-sign you to a new label and stuff, but I have this vision of where I want Konvict Muzik to go, and I'd like, you know what I mean, I'd like for you to be, you know what I mean, the Jordan of my team, because he's like, I've been following all the mixtapes and all the appearances and this, that, and the next thing, and like, you just crazy, and I really think that, you know, you would be a good fit into the team. He's like, I got this new artist named T-Pain. I'm like, who?
Yeah, who?
You know what I mean? Yeah. He's like, oh, trust me, the first single is coming. We about to film a video in Atlanta next week, you know, and whatever. It's like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it was just, and I mean, you know what? In all honesty, that's what made it dope about the situation. Is that me being a part of the team? It wasn't like T-Pain was this guy who he is now, who's on 4,000 hooks and produced 10,000 joints and has his own private jet and all that crazy stuff. And even with Akon at that point in time, like, when I was, you know, talking to certain people within my circle about it, they're like, Akon? They're like, what are you going to sign with Akon for? I was like, yo, you know he sold 2 million records, right? They're like, he did? Like, he was really flying under the radar at that time, because when his album first came out, he only sold 13,000 the first week. Yeah, it was one of those
slow mover.
Yeah, albums, but like he came up, and you know what I mean. He really focused on not just America but internationally, and you know what I'm saying. He sold a couple million. So really, when I became a part of the whole Konvict family, it was really based on just the way that we worked together, based on all the energy and the my brain's not working right now. 2 hours sleep, but. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
just based on the real vibes. You know what I mean? That's how it came together, and that's what made it real dope. Because by the time that I signed my life away in Blood to Interscope last year, it's like we were at a different level. You know what I'm saying? Everything was rock solid in cement by that time, and I had no worries. Like, I have total faith in Akon. You know what I'm saying? That's one good thing. A lot of times, you know, when you're working with somebody, sometimes you get nervous. You're like, oh man, like, I don't know what this person's thinking in their brain. And especially like somebody like Akon now, who, you know, he could work with anybody from Elton John to Gwen Stefani. Somebody like that, you don't, for an outsider, you might not know where their brain is at. Yeah. You know, so when they're like, what is he gonna do with Kardinal? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, he was just on the Garth Brooks album or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I have total faith in Kon, because the dope thing about him is, from day one till day now, he knows what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? He knows where I'm trying to go. He knows what I'm trying to do and what my movement is and who my core fans are. What Akon's just trying to do is make sure that I can maintain all my integrity and maintain and still do music that I love, but just expand my fan base.
Yeah, maximize it.
Yeah, that most definitely, but in a tactful way. So.